Welcome everyone to BizzTalk. Really glad to have everyone here today. Really excited for our guest today, Micaela Romanini. Did I say that correctly?
Yes, perfectly. Thank you.
Perfect. And we're really happy to have Micaela. Micaela is involved in several projects, a couple of which she's the event director for Game Rome and also the vice director for Vigamas. But she's involved in several projects, and we're hoping to hear a little bit more about that. And today we're going to have a really great discussion on changes and opportunities in the event industry. As you know, BizzTalk, we talk mostly about the event industry, but the event industry is huge. And there's so many different kinds of events and everything. So, we're really excited. I'm your host, Jason Schuster from BizzTech. And Micaela, if you could get us started, just maybe 3 minutes or so, tell the audience a little bit about yourself, some of the projects you're involved in, what you're doing. Just give them a really good idea of where your perspective comes from.
Yes, first of all, let me thank you for inviting me to join you today for this beautiful event. I'm very happy to be here. I'm Micaela Romanini. I'm based in Rome, but I was born in Germany, and
Okay.
I'm working currently as vice director in Bigamos Foundation, which is an Italian foundation who manages the Video Game Museum of Rome, some private courses in games, development, design, art, etc. And I'm also working as event director of Game Room, which is the the leading international B2B event for games in Italy. And I'm currently also the founder of Women in Games Italy. So I work to promote inclusion and diversity in the game industry, esports and mobile, with many other professionals.
Okay, fantastic. Now, how long have you been doing events in the gaming industry?
Game Room is currently 5 years old, I think. So I worked in organizing events for many years for the Video Game Museum, or we organized, for example, the Green Gem inside the European Culture Forum in Italy, and many other events, small game conferences.
Okay.
But the most important one for me is, of course, Game Room. We had the fourth edition in 2019, and it was a great one in a beautiful five-star hotel. Our event is very famous for its classy and relaxed atmosphere. So for us, the physical location is very important. We had to postpone the event in 2020, of course, as many other events. And we also decided not to do a digital event. So this year was very difficult for us as far as the event is concerned, for as many other companies, of course, working on that field.
Absolutely. And it's in Rome, correct? Is when you host it. By the way, I would love any excuse to go back to Italy. It's one of my favorite places in the whole world. It's a dream of mine to have a vacation home somewhere. Maybe Tuscany, I don't know, but Rome is beautiful. And so yeah, I hope that Game Rome has an opportunity to do a live event this year. That'd be nice. If you are going to do a live event, would you consider something like a hybrid, like a partial digital and partial live to allow more people to participate, or have you guys thought about something like that?
Yes, I think one of the most interesting learnings we can take from this difficult year is that we can take advantage of some opportunities who become really visible during last year, like working on online formats as well. So I think an hybrid event will be the best option, because it will allow, of course, many people who don't want maybe to travel. For example, I remember in the past edition of the event, we had many delegates from China who were very willing to participate and to attend, but finally they couldn't come because of restrictions from the country. So they did not have the time to do all the documentation, etc., to travel. So this will be an interesting opportunity. Of course, I love live events and physical events, so I will not work only on a digital format. And I think after this year with many digital events, people really want to meet again, to hug each other, also because the game community is truly a friendly community. Everyone knows everyone. So it's really sad not to go to physical events.
Absolutely. I would agree. Now, how many physical events do you typically attend per year? Obviously, you're the event director for Game Rome, but I have to imagine that you attend several other events, especially in Europe with, everything kind of being so close together. What does that usually look like for you?
Yes, of course. We are partners with the main game developers conferences in all Europe.
Okay.
So I always attend events like Reboot, Nordic Game, and the one in Dubai, Pocket Gamer in London. So I usually travel a lot. So I can go also to 2, 3 different countries in a month, for example. And we also attend the main trade events worldwide, like TGS, E3, and yes, these are the ones we usually go every year. So this year was very strange for us and also sad because we love to travel and to meet all other people working in the industry. And it was truly different because of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, when you're attending these other events, are you typically representing yourself? Are you going as a representative for Women in Games Italy, or is it still kind of just as a partner at another event? What does that usually look like?
Yeah, I'm wearing many hats. We can say here also in the foundation. So when I usually go to events, I try to take the best opportunities for every asset we represent. So of course for Game Room when we attend other game conferences, but also for the courses. Like meeting professionals who are willing to do some lectures, and of course representing Women in Games Italy, and also working with Women in Games International to talk at panels in different events, to do some meetups and different activities.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, just maybe one more question about women in games specifically. Obviously, the women in games community is growing rapidly, and I remember just a few conferences ago we had a guest on who brought some data up that the demographic of women in games is growing faster than the demographic of men in games. So it's very likely that the future gamer is female. Is that kind of what you're seeing as you're involved with these organizations at a higher level? And is that same growth being experienced on the development side, not just as end users, but are we seeing that kind of growth amongst women in developing games?
Yes, I did not mention I'm also teaching diversity and inclusion policies in the game industry in
Okay.
in Campus University. So I provide my students with all data on gender demographics, motivation for gamers to play different games based on gender. So they know everything. But yes, we can see that now the number of female gamers is growing in the past years. We have like 50% of gamers who are female in especially for mobile games. So
Wow.
we see the mobile platform is very important for this, we can say, gender recognition of players. As far as the PC and console games are concerned, we see that the number of players among women is growing, but we see that there are many differences if we check the different categories. So, for example, the racing games have a very small percentage of women playing, also first-person shooters. So that kind of games where we can see a huge use of violence or of competition, let's see. But we're seeing also in development that in the past years, the number of women working is growing. So data are encouraging. There is still a long way to go because we know the average percentage of women working in game development studios is of around the 14%. In
Okay.
like in France and in different European countries. In Italy is still lower. We don't have the exact data, but I think it's around maybe the 4%. So it's very low. But many things are changing now, so we are pretty optimistic for the future.
Excellent, excellent. And obviously, it's not necessarily about events, but I find it really interesting, and it's very, I don't get to talk to someone who's as involved in that as you are. From my from my side, my wife is a pretty serious gamer, so that's, I mean, for the last 11 years, that's all I've known. Is, a strong female gamer, and she's finishing up school to go into digital art for games. So that's very close to home for, for at least for our family. So I hope to see that demographic continue to grow. But back over to events. Now, obviously, regulations for events wildly different from country to country. Depends very much on how the government is handling it, what the travel restrictions are, this kind of thing. But given the current situation now, I mean, what kind of changes are you seeing specifically in Italy and the parts of Europe that you're observing? What's changing, and what are of these changes, what's going to stay?
Yes, many companies worldwide has had really huge regulations on travels. So we know the biggest game companies like Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo have asked the employees not to travel until June 2020 and 21st, sorry. But I think this date will be also postponed maybe to September. So we see also in Italy that there are no live events as for now. So everything is still locked as far as the physical presence of people. For example, in this week we had some openings of museums and some libraries with a small number of people who are allowed to enter. So there are not like guided tours or such activities to be organized, but only the chance to enter the location. And also movie theaters are still closed, so the situation is still very difficult for now here.
Sure, absolutely, and I'm glad to hear that some things are opening up again, but yeah, live events are still kind of on the down. Obviously, here in the United States, our regulations are a little bit different, for better or for worse. I'm not sure, but I do see some live events starting to come back in in the U.S. small scale. But it's interesting to see the difference even just between the U.S. and in Europe in that regard. You mentioned earlier that you felt that most people after 2020 are kind of burned out on virtual events, on 100% virtual events? And I can definitely see that because there's so many, right? There's so many virtual events happening, and so people are attending more events than they ever have before, but they're all virtual. Once live events come back, do you see virtual events taking a dive, or do you see virtual events maybe it's maybe still more than there were before, but certainly not as many as there were in 2020? I mean, what do you kind of see happening there?
Yeah, I think it will be very strange for events to come back, especially after they had a digital edition in 2020, because of course many companies will ask, why do I have to come maybe to sponsor an activity, to spend money, to send employees to attend the event, so to pay for their travel accommodation, where I can attend the digital event. So it will be a little bit strange
Right.
for companies to attend events again. And also, I think all these digital events will add the physical part back again, and will keep a digital opportunity for people to attend, for example, with the matchmaking system, so they can talk with other people, for some conferences maybe, so they could have speakers, even if those will be not be able to travel. I think it will be very strange. One thing I think could be very interesting is the use on new platforms like virtual reality,
Mm.
or platforms as Fortnite maybe, because we saw
Ah,
the first concerts and events taking place inside Fortnite and such games. So it may be also maybe an opportunity to see a new kind of events to start after this year.
that's really interesting. I hadn't even thought about that, but certainly there's a place for future events to include some kind of a game concept along with it, right? And more engagement from the attendees, certainly.
Mhm.
You mentioned sponsors. Do you feel, again, we're just having a discussion here, but do you feel that sponsors are getting more out of their sponsorship dollars in virtual events? Or do you think that they'll get more out of those sponsor dollars when in-person events come back?
Yes, I think companies spend, of course, less money in digital events, because
Sure.
the type of activities they can work on is very different. It's all virtual, so it's you don't have to pay for materials, for coffees, like lunches, or those activities. But I see many companies who are sponsoring many and many events. So maybe before the pandemic, they were selecting only a few of those events. And now, as they are not traveling, so those expenses are lower, of course, maybe they can sponsor more events. I'm not sure about this still. But I can see that many of these event organizers are working on several and periodic meetings, so they can offer an added value for companies to attend, like a package of events, not only one per year.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the main change I can see on events, of course, related to the pandemic and to the online format.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Now, as far as attendees go, one thing that I think is going to be another interesting thing to see is attendees have gotten used to ticket prices going down. right? The cost of attendance at a virtual event is sometimes nothing.
Yes.
You know, when these events push back to in-person events, I think that free attendance probably can't happen. So what are we expecting to see as far as attendees go? Are we going to see a similar attendance from previous years, or is it going to be a little lower? What do you think?
That's a good question. I think it will take time for visitors to travel again. So also when the restrictions will be over, maybe we will not have the same attendance of the past years, especially from abroad. Because I don't know, maybe people will be still in fear of traveling, I don't know. Or of course, companies will be less willing to pay for their employees to go to live events. We still don't know. Of course, yes, where I can see that many digital events are offering tickets for free, because of course they need to have more and more visitors to attend their events. Of course, when you work on a live and physical event, this is not possible because you have a lot of expenses. We had also with Game Room in the past years. So of course, the tickets are more expensive for people. But I think there is an added value for them to come to events, to meet with other people live, also to visit a new city, which is always good because you can have fun while you do business. And it's very important to attend live events for the reason, in my opinion. But of course, we will need to see all the changes that the pandemic will bring.
Absolutely. I think some attendees will probably have to be more picky about live events that they attend. For instance, I would rather go to Italy than London. There's nothing wrong with London. It's just I like Italy better. So if I had to choose, I would choose Game Rome over Pocket Gamer.
So we are waiting for you.
That's right. That's right. But okay, very, very good. So moving on to kind of our last section here, where do you see the biggest opportunities in the game industry, and specifically event organizers and sponsors? Where are the real opportunities for them to moving forward? What should they be focusing on?
I think they will need to focus on bringing people from all over the world to attend, also using the online platform. So it will be very important for event organizers to keep this part, so to allow people to meet and to give also the opportunities to game developers, as we work, of course, with game developers who are not able to travel a lot to many events, also because they are usually young people with a very, very small company. So
Sure.
for young game developers, it would be very important to have the opportunity to attend many, many events in different countries. That's why, for example, in Game Room in the past years, we didn't ask developers to pay for the space to showcase their game, because we wanted as many as more developers to attend it. But we decided to select the game to add in our space, because we wanted to give focus on quality also for publishers and investors to come to our event and to see good quality games. So we decided to make this decision. But of course, as we are working with game developers and young professionals, it will be a good thing to offer them such opportunities, so to help them to attend as many more events as possible.
I love that. That's a fantastic idea. So you may not know this, or maybe you do, but aside from being a partner at BizzTalk, but I've been at a game company for the last 4 years. And, we put this game together, or put this game company together in 2017, and we're still a startup. We're still really small. 2020 put some hurt on our progress. But one of the things that we, in especially the earlier years, that was frustrating for us as a new startup is to be able to try and go to an event and showcase our game was so expensive. And I love this idea of allowing, these new startups to showcase their game for free, which is huge value to them. It gets them there, and then they're more likely to, to engage in some other, other activities, attract more attendees, etc. I think that that's brilliant. So maybe not sticking to exactly what you used to do, changing a little bit, being a little bit more adaptive. I like that. I like that a lot. Now, as far as Game Roam goes, what else has to happen in the next few months, the next year? I think you said you guys were looking at September, right? What has to go right to make sure that Game Roam happens in 2021?
Yeah, we were targeting October 2021 to see if we can have the physical event back again.
Okay.
Of course, it will be very difficult as in these weeks, in these months here in Italy, we see that the vaccines are going on, but maybe a little bit slower than expected. Okay. So it will be very difficult for us to work on events to happen in October, of course, if we don't have a clear situation of the pandemic, because in summer maybe it will be better, but we don't want to start the pandemic again in September as we saw this year. So maybe we will need to postpone the event a little bit again in spring 2022 to see how it's going on, because of course we need to work in advance with companies and speakers, etc. Also because people maybe will not be able to travel, and as our event is truly an international event, so we have speakers coming from abroad, delegates and visitors coming from abroad, and publishers, developers. It would be impossible for us to have the event if there are such restrictions.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, where would our audience go if they wanted to stay up to date on what's happening with Game Roam? If they, myself included, right? If I want to attend, because I miss Italy. It's been many years since I've been. Where would I go to stay updated? I want to know. I want to know. What's going on. When is it happening?
Yes, of course, we have all our social media pages who are always updated, newsletters. So people from the website can also register for the newsletters, so they will have all the information. So these are mainly the best options to stay updated.
Okay, excellent. So go follow them on social media, get sign up for the newsletter, stay up to date, and let's hope that 2021, we see a decline in cases, and hopefully we can see an October edition of Game Roam. It'd be fantastic. Hopefully. So awesome, Micaela. Thank you so much for being here. We're just right at time. I've loved having you here. Truly, I think that you're doing some truly amazing things in the game industry, and making a good positive difference. And I think we all appreciate seeing that. So thank you for taking the time to be here. Thank you very much, Jason.
It was so kind. It was very nice meeting you and talking with you again today.
Yes, you too. It's been a while. I think it was it early last year, the last time that we spoke? It's been a while.
I think so. Yeah.
It's been a while. Well, wonderful. Micaela, thank you so much. Appreciate it. To our audience, thank you so much. And again, this has been BizzTalk, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.